We in Ukraine are expecting a lot from the Vilnius summit. Polish President Andrzej Duda went last week in Paris alongside French President Emmanuel Macron, and Germany Chancellor Olaf Scholz said people in Ukraine see a light at the end of the tunnel in terms of Russia's invasion. Ukraine seeks to join NATO as quickly as possible, but members of the Western military alliance are divided over how fast that step should be taken, while Eastern European countries want some sort of a roadmap to be offered to Kyiv at the summit in Vilnius. Western members such as United States, France and Germany are wary of any move that might take the alliance closer to a direct war with Russia.
Ukraine is waiting for a clear signal on a clear perspective for membership in the North Atlantic Alliance. Equally, this is today the greatest expectation for the Ukrainian government, for Ukraine's soldiers, its defenders, and for Ukrainian society. This is unequivocally one of the most important things. I hope that the upcoming NATO summit in Vilnius will bring good news for Kyiv, that Ukraine's future NATO membership is clearly visible, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, as I am told in Ukraine, which Ukrainians want to see at least when it comes to membership of NATO. It will appear thanks to the decisions we take in Vilnius.
Ukraińcy wreszcie zobaczyć, jeśli chodzi o członkostwo w NATO, pojawi się dzięki naszym decyzjom, które zapadną w Wilnie.
My question is the following. How to convene to the European countries what the Poles and we, as I told you, in the Baltic states, know. This seems to have we understood long ago, and we paid enormous price for that, being in the Soviet era. How to convene that the Ukraine in NATO is actually a safety guarantee for Europe at least, if not for the whole world. Maybe not for the whole world, but for the Europe at least.
You know, Ukraine in NATO will not only give Ukraine more protection. The NATO members must realize that, you know, because of the experience of the last 16 months, the Ukrainian army is the most effective, potent army on the European continent. Man for man, woman for woman. I don't think there is an army on the face of the earth at the moment that could match Ukraine. So Ukraine will bring so much experience and so much leadership and so much resolve and strength to NATO. Ukraine will only strengthen the alliance in the same way as actually a small country, but one of the most impressive countries I have visited, Finland, who were given accession to NATO. That has made, you know, little Finland, 5 million. They can mobilize, I think, 300,000 troops in 24 hours. They have a reserve of 900,000. They have more artillery pieces than France and Germany combined. We do not see Russia attack Finland. We know from our history what happened to Russia in 1938, the last time they attacked Finland. They got a very, very bloody nose out of it. But to go back to Ukraine, look at what Ukraine has done. Yes, Ukraine needs NATO. Ukraine needs NATO for its security. But I have been saying also since 2016, as much, and this was before the war, as much as Ukraine needs the West and the support of the West, we in the West actually need Ukraine. And I believe we need Ukraine for that real value of freedom, which is so alive in all of the people from all walks of life that I met over 2 years. That is something very important, but also for their toughness and their resolve and the strength they will add and the steel that they will put into NATO's spine. What I find far more important is the Ramstein format, where the defense ministers of, I think, 40 countries meet once a month under the chairmanship of Lloyd Austin, the American Secretary of Defense, to decide what armaments Ukraine needs and how they are going to be delivered. But you know, if I can say something, if I can say one more thing,
please do.
Here's what we got to stop doing. We've got to stop thinking that we in the West can decide what is good for Ukraine. and what Ukraine needs. And we need to start listening more to Ukraine and saying, what do you need? And giving Ukraine what she needs. And the people that I would go to next, and I've said this already, after Ukraine, are yourselves in the Baltics and the Poles and the other countries in the eastern neighborhood who really know what Russia is about. And I'm afraid we are still some way off that position, where rather than deciding as donors how generous we will be, we need to move towards Ukraine and say, no, we need to listen to Ukraine more and give Ukraine what she needs and what she tells us she needs, because it is the Ukrainians who know better than anyone what their day-to-day needs are, both in humanitarian aid, most importantly in terms of military aid, and also reconstruction. If we get past this first step, i.e. we make sure Ukraine wins the war, there will be billions, there will be trillions of dollars available, because there are already large funds and companies lining up who see an opportunity to make an awful lot of money out of the reconstruction of the largest country in Europe that is a sleeping giant,